Crime Curious is a true crime podcast that takes an in-depth look into real cases through the lens of a trained investigator and former prosecutor turned judge.
If you are sensitive to expletives, anatomical descriptions, and accurate descriptions of crime scenes, this podcast may not be suitable for you.
Welcome to Crime Curious. I'm Charnell.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Brainbath Jason.
Hi, thanks for joining Megan and Jason. Let's get our gree-gree. Let's get this party off to a good start here in the studio.
Shake the bones.
Thank you for leaving the sack for me.
You're welcome.
I'm usually stuck with the duck.
I have the duck and
I
all of
squeaked
the
duck,
genitals.
shook
over
the
here.
sack.
Hi, general audience.
Hi. Let's thank a special listener for the suggestion today. I don't have permission to use her name, so I'm not going to. But when you hear this case, you're going to be like, hey, that's my case that I suggested to Charnell, and she's covering it. So thanks a lot. This is the case of the death of a 7-month-old. Sorry, trigger
said
alert.
before this started, you guys are going to hate this case.
I did. Right before I hit record, I said, you guys are going to hate this case. Love you both so much. Okay. And then we went right to Welcome to Crime Curious. This is the death of 7-month-old Uriel Schock, Schock. Schock.
Literally shock.
Yep. This case takes place in Hardy County, Florida on November 1st, 2022. Not long ago.
So, like yesterday.
Yeah, feels like it, right? When mother of 3, Kyla Nix Schock, left Uriel in the care of her 65-year-old mother, Tracy Nix, a former high school principal, because Kyla was going to get her her hair done. She knew that her mother was planning to go to lunch with some trusted friends that Kyla knew, so she did not have issues with her mother taking her daughter along for a lunch date.
Why would you?
Right.
Grandma watching the 7-month-old, just normal.
Mm-hmm. Hang on to that.
Yeah, I'm aware. I think I know this case.
So Kyla puts her daughter's car seat in the back of her mother's Lexus SUV. Now, she typically puts her car seat behind the passenger seat, but on this day, she actually placed it behind the driver's seat. So Tracy Nix took her 7-month-old granddaughter to Beef O'Brady's, where they had a nice lunch with Tracy's friends. When Tracy arrived back home, she went inside, she talked with her dog, and she practiced the piano. Tracy's husband, Nunne Nix, was home, but I don't know if he was home when she got home, and I'm not really certain of the time frame, okay? But during the afternoon, he arrives. He is home with her. Another of Tracy's older grandchildren walks through the door, and Tracy and Nun's other daughter, Rebecca Tucker, had dropped this other grandchild off, and when Tracy saw her older grandchild, she remembered. She remembered that she was caring for Uriel and had her with her and forgot her in the backseat of the car on a sunny Florida day when the temperatures were in the 90s.
Yep. Oh, God.
So Nunne Nix found Uriel unresponsive. And I'm not sure of the exact time frame here, you guys. I like how we are 3.5 minutes in and I'm already giving you these nitty-gritty details. But
trigger alert.
Yeah, I'm unsure of the exact time frame because some reports said that she had been left all afternoon while others said several hours. So I do not know the exact timestamp like I usually do when we cover cases. But what we do know is that it had been long enough for rigor mortis to have set in.
Did she even take the baby into lunch, or did she literally forget about her before she even got out to go live lunch?
Nope. From what I understand, the baby, the friends, the trusted friends.
They saw the baby at lunch.
They saw the baby at lunch. They were meeting other people. And she had just There are some things at play here. The car seat was behind her driver's seat instead of the passenger seat like it usually is. She doesn't care for her on a regular basis. So she got out of the vehicle and she went in and remembers playing with her dog, talking with her dog, practicing the piano. And this is why I said I didn't really know the time frame for Nunn. Like, I'm wondering if he didn't question where the baby was.
Maybe you didn't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe he thought that their daughter had come and picked her up already, or she dropped her off. I don't believe that he realized that, she should have still been caring for her, is what I'm saying. Kyla found out when the police arrived to her home and informed her that her daughter had died and that they needed her to come to the hospital to identify her. Now, at this point in time, you might be thinking what a horrible accident this case is, and you're right. But at this point, what Kyla was thinking was total confusion because she knew that her child was dead. But that was 11 months ago. Why are the police at her door telling her now?
What?
Kyla was thinking of the horror that happened to her 16-month-old son, Ezra Schock, just 3 days before Christmas, 2001.
I just got chills all the way up the back of my body.
I told you you're going to hate this case, and it's a bumpy ride. When Kyla got a phone call from her mother, Tracy, that Ezra had drowned in a small pond after she, Tracy, had fallen asleep.
So she was watching a 16-month-old?
Yes, 11 months earlier, that also belonged to Kyla.
And he drowned in the pond.
He drowned in the pond. It took several moments for Kyla to realize that it had happened again. Another of her children had been taken from her in a tragic accident while in the care of her mother. 2 of her babies, 11 months apart. The coroner who completed the autopsy ruled the cause of death as hyperthermia and said that she did not die from sudden death, and explained that it's not quick or instant because the report talks about that, about hyperthermia, and that it could take approximately an hour. So there's a lot to unpack here for this family. And I'm sure there was a lot of criticism on Kyla for leaving her infant daughter in her mother's care after what had happened to Ezra 11 months prior. But let me give you those details before anyone puts on their judgment hat. December 22nd, 2001, 16-month-old Ezra Schock was in the care of Tracy and Nunn Nix. Ezra and Nunn had actually gone to Walmart, okay? Tracy and Ezra had laid down for a nap. When she woke up, she couldn't find Ezra, and she began searching for him. She called Nunn and Kyla and said she couldn't find him. They all came rushing to search for him. At this point in time, Kyla was 6 months pregnant with Uriel at this time. In her frantic hurry to get to her parents' house to search for her son, she was in a head-on collision that caused all of the airbags to deploy. She doesn't remember how she got out of the vehicle, but she did, and she started running without shoes to her parents' house. Tracy said that while she was driving, looking for him, she saw something in the pond. Tracy runs to the pond, gets Ezra, began doing CPR, and screamed for the neighbor to help. She, at this point in time, so Ezra obviously did not make it. And the thing is, Tracy didn't know that Ezra could open the door. He was 16 months old, and he had just started walking only a few weeks before. So he had not only opened the door, but he crawled under a fence and was then in a very small, shallow pond. From a lot of what the articles mentioned, it was on a neighbor's property that connected with Tracy and Nunn's property. But it was shallow. It was not very deep, but he's 16 months old.
From what you're telling me so far, I've seen a dozen of these type of cases over my career. Mm-hmm. Where this is what you're describing right now is truly a tragic accident. You could try from your CPS brain to say that there's some fail to appropriately supervise, but when the house is shut up, I mean, what more could they have done at that point in time other than put deadbolts and stuff at the top? But this child doesn't live with you. You don't know that he's an escaper at this point.
For sure.
He
had only recently started walking.
Right.
And they had no they had never seen him open the door. They didn't know that he could. So a
I'm just
majority of grandparents wouldn't have put
Yeah.
a hook and eye
And
latch
again,
at the top of their door.
from a CPS perspective, at this point in time, this isn't open closed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
this
an
isn't-
terrible accident, and the police are going to
Yeah.
do pretty much the same thing, and everybody's going to just try to mourn as
Right.
best as they can.
The death was ruled accidental, and no charges were brought against Tracy Nix. Now, Kyla said that she was relieved to hear from the police that it was ruled an accident, because for her, that meant she could keep her mother in her life. Now, at first, her and her husband did not trust Tracy. They wouldn't leave their 4-year-old son with her. But after Uriel was born and life started to have its new normal, Kyla wanted to have a relationship with her mother. And so they allowed her to sit, to take Uriel to lunch and to babysit for this small amount of time.
And this was the first time, or do we not
Did
know? if
I
maybe-
don't know that detail.
Charnell,
Mm-hmm.
you said 11 months.
11 months prior to this date from when Uriel died.
Okay.
It was 3 days before Christmas. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, because this is November of 2022, and Ezra passed away 3 days before Christmas 2021.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So truly 11 months. He was 16 months old, and she was 6 months pregnant with Uriel.
Yeah, I was trying to do a lot of math in my head.
Yes.
Sorry.
Right. Nope, that's okay.
She just saved you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Now, according to kidsandcars.org, on average, 38 children die in hot cars every year in the U.S. That is, and actually 2018 and 19 were the worst 2 years in history for child hot car deaths, because temperatures rose in a lot of areas that aren't used to seeing such high temperatures.
Right.
And I give this information purposely. I'm covering this case on purpose in July, just to keep spreading awareness on this. Since 1990, at least 1,125 children have died in hot cars. Every state has endured at least one tragedy of this nature. On a 90-degree day, the internal temperature of a car can climb up to 120 degrees in just half an hour. After 90 minutes, it can reach as high as 138 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than any outdoor temperature ever recorded on Earth. The overwhelming majority of hot car tragedies involve a child who was unknowingly left or gained access to a vehicle on their own. Contrary to public opinion, very few cases involve drugs, alcohol, prior CPS involvement, or neglect. The data as of January 2024, 44% of child car deaths were because the child was supposed to have been dropped off at daycare and was simply forgot about. Mom and dad drove to work.
Usually the other parent that doesn't typically drop them off, they put them in the car, they go to work, and at the end of the day, they realize.
Yes. And there's also 11% miscommunication between two caregivers, where they don't realize the baby is in their car because they have car seats in both vehicles.
Sure.
12% left by a child care provider professional. So this is your commonly called daycare provider that is transporting a child. 12%. 34% unknowingly left by a caregiver that's not a child care provider professional or a parent. Grandparents, right.
Aunt,
34%.
uncle.
The second highest leading cause of child car deaths, with the exception of the 44% of when a parent was supposed to have dropped off a child at daycare. Now, the Florida statute defines child neglect as a caregiver's failure or omission to provide a child with the care, supervision, and services necessary to maintain the child's physical and mental health. Examples of this, of what a failure to provide is: food and nutrition, clothing, shelter, supervision, medicine and medical services. Child neglect may also occur as a result of a caregiver's failure to make a reasonable effort to protect a child from abuse, neglect, or exploitation by another person. So after this case with Uriel, Tracy was charged with aggravated manslaughter and leaving a child unattended in a motor vehicle causing great harm.
It fits the statute, from my opinion. I mean, people can disagree if they want.
That's why I included it.
In terms of the probable cause that you need to charge in that situation, it fits.
Mm-hmm. She told detectives that since Uriel had fallen asleep on the way back home from Beef O'Brady's, the car was quiet, and that is how she forgot that she was there. Then she just went on with her day as a 64 or 65-year-old retiree might. She talked with her dog. She practiced the piano. And it wasn't until she saw her other grandchild that she remembered she was caring for Uriel too.
I mean, and I have compassion there, by the way, at that point where you make that, where you remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not an excuse, but I'm just picturing myself
that
in
moment.
That moment. Mm-mm. And if you were in that position.
Mm-hmm. I want to kind of talk a little bit about the family dynamics here that we might not have maybe thought about as we're processing just the gravity of this situation. And when you try, like you said, you're putting yourself in Tracy's position of remembering, I left my grandchild in the back seat, and 11 months ago, I fell asleep and Ezra died, right? Kyla now has the impossible position of grieving the loss of her two children at the hands of her mother, whom she had a close, loving relationship and bond with. Kyla has siblings, another child, a father, and a husband who has now also lost two children due to his mother-in-law. I mean, has anyone thought about this child's father and how he might be feeling right now?
Well, when you lose a child, one of them, let alone two, your marriage rarely survives after this.
Exactly. And I put it right in my notes, how my heart breaks for her. I can't imagine what all of this has done to her marriage, her family relationships. She openly went to the press and said that she believes her mother should be criminally charged and that she deserves jail time. I won't even pretend to know what I would do in this situation. And remember, she has a dad too, and her dad is sticking by her mom's side, not in defense, but in sympathy. This was a true, in their opinion, just a true accident. This has just been two tragic accidents, one right after the other, and he's not divorcing his wife over it, right?
But culpability is a little different in this type of a situation versus the first one where there was an escaping toddler.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The trial was delayed due to Tracy asking for an extended stay in a mental health institution.
Okay.
And it was granted after her arrest because she was checking in daily as required by her bond, even when getting her mental health treatment. She was cooperating with everything. And no, from the information that I could gather, she was not being treated for any kind of mental illness prior to this, dementia, Alzheimer's.
I was going to ask if she'd been.
No. And now, after the death of Ezra, just 11 months before, she was on medications for treatment of depression and sleep issues, as I think anyone would be. And the trial took place in January of this year, 2025. At the trial, there was explicit direction from Judge Raful that any mention of Ezra's death, that is the 16-month-old son 11 months prior, was prohibited from coming into this trial. Because remember, that death was ruled an accident, no foul play was suspected, and she is on trial for aggravated manslaughter and leaving a child in a motor vehicle causing great bodily harm. That's it. Nothing to do with Ezra.
So there is a motion you can make for other bad acts, similar acts, right? Mm-hmm. But because it was determined to be a clear accident and there was nothing criminal, it's not going to fit in necessarily, at least from that judge's perspective, it sounds like, in the other bad acts category. So he excluded it and didn't allow them to use it. Somebody else could have made a different decision. And right. I'm not saying that judge made the wrong decision, by the way. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that he or she made the decision that wasn't coming in, and they were going to decide this particular neglect on the merits.
What constitutes aggravated manslaughter?
I would have to know.
Why is aggravated added to it?
We don't have aggravated manslaughter in Michigan, but I'm assuming they mean more like maybe a voluntary manslaughter, like the action or inaction was so egregious that it led to the level of it being more aggravated than a true, maybe like a vehicular homicide, which is kind of maybe like a non-aggravated in their case. And I'm just making a guess, but the Florida penal system, all states are a little bit different in terms of how they classify. I'm just assuming that because of the age of the child, the fact alone that a death occurred and the egregious nature of it is what bumped it to aggravated.
Yeah, it was the egregious nature because of the fact that it was hours.
Yeah.
Before.
That should bother everyone that it took that long. We're all forgetful, okay?
Yeah.
You can forget things. But to forget that long that you were caring for a child, that's why I was going to ask you if she has any medical issues or like dementia or anything.
Well, let me tell you.
If you're carrying groceries in and you're like, oh, you're done unpacking groceries, and 10 minutes later, you're like, fuck, kid, shit.
Right.
But again, 4 hours go by and you're just like, la.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure this woman beats herself up about it every day, but it just, that action or inaction in and of itself is what's making it so, it's leveling it up to that aggravated piece.
Mm-hmm. At the trial, a forensic genetic psychiatrist, Ryan Estevez, testified that some of the medication she was taking should not be prescribed together for elderly patients. Now, do we consider 65 elderly?
I don't.
I don't
Senior
know.
citizen status, technically.
Well, the medical community, remember a geriatric pregnancy in the medical
40.
community
35.
is 35 and over.
God.
Or 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went with 40.
Right. No, it's 35 and over. I looked it up.
Yeah. No, Lily was considered a geriatric pregnancy
Right.
because Maria was 35 or 36 when she got pregnant.
No
Yep.
kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would imagine that in the medical community, 65 probably is considered elderly. I suppose it's a little hard to swallow, but I get it. But remember, 35-year-old pregnant women are called geriatric.
Right. Well, you're 65, you can get free coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a senior citizen.
Fine.
Dr. Estevez also said that the combination of the medication also causes drowsiness. So Nunn Nix, Tracy's husband and Uriel's grandfather, was the sole witness to testify for the defense. He was their only character witness and testified about the love that Tracy has for her children and grandchildren.
Well, he's also an actual witness. He was there and watched her behavior during the time that the child was dying in the car.
Yep. Yes. Which was not abnormal.
Right.
I mean, it was described as she played with her dog and she practiced the piano. She went about her regular day.
Nobody thinks that this was intentional, though, from the defense perspective. No one thinks she did this on purpose.
No.
That's why she wasn't charged with homicide.
That's why she's not on trial for that.
They're showing the neglect part. So does Nunn not think that she was neglectful?
I couldn't find any statements from him other than repetitive statements of how much she.
This is just so unfortunate.
How unintentional this was.
We've had cases where a child was left in a car intentionally.
Yes.
I don't know that they died.
That's why we were given a public service announcement
it's
here.
It's why people get charged criminally for it because
it's illegal.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to leave my kid in the car while I run in the store.
Is it illegal in all states? I mean,
No.
I know it is in
Probably not.
Michigan, but.
No, it depends. It's age specific. Like,
but again,
I can run into a store and leave my 11-year-old in the car. But if I do it with the vehicle off on a 90-degree day, I'm being neglectful. That's why it's hard in the north, and then why giving that PSA is helpful, that it doesn't matter. You know, I grew up during a time frame in the north here, and you're from a northern state too. So are you. Can you not think of a time that your parents left you in the car real quick when it was winter and you're bundled up in your snowsuit? Well, because people don't die very often from being cold. Not in a car. You can last for days, right? And it's better to be cold than overheated, believe it or not. Your brain and your body don't, go into that big of stress. This is just the opposite extreme.
I don't know about the aggravated manslaughter charge. From my CPS brain, I would have a really hard time not saying she was neglectful.
She was neglectful.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
She was neglectful both times, realistically.
I mean, in terms of supervision on the first one, which does fall under the statute, yes, but they determined that it was not criminal at that time, again, because there were mitigating circumstances.
And let's explain. CPS,
there's not a mitigating circumstance with a 7-month-old.
No.
She wasn't mobile, not able to say, hey, Grandma, I'm back here.
Nope. Right. Exactly.
She should clearly never be allowed to supervised children.
I'm
ever
going to be
again.
honest. I can't believe that this went to jury trial and that she didn't plead or accept a plea to something. And I'm so not trying to be judgmental here, but I know what I would do. Mm-hmm. I know what I would advise my client to do. And yes, you're looking at jail or prison time, but at that point in time, I think as the grandparent, I'm going to accept that and just admit and throw myself on the mercy of the court at sentencing and to my daughter.
Right.
I mean, her life is, everyone's lives are ruined here. Everyone's. There's no winner.
Well, and that comes into what you said about throwing yourself at the mercy of the court and your daughter. That comes into play in a moment here. And I do want to just make a oh my gosh, let me try that. Yeah, let me try that sentence again. I want to
make a distinction.
Am I having a stroke?
Are you? Do you smell smoke?
Oh, I read this today. Smile.
Yeah.
You need to speak in a coherent sentence.
Stick your tongue out.
Oh, great. Yes, I do want to distinguish something for you guys. CPS would not be involved in this case at all because she is not a legal guardian in any way, shape, or form. Right. She is simply a caregiver, a babysitter at this point in time. The neglect
lies on the mother of leaving her child with this woman who obviously wasn't. I mean,
there had already been a tragic accident.
Yes, there was a tragic accident that she was involved in.
And I do not have any information. Of course, CPS information is very confidential, you guys. So even if I went searching for it, I wouldn't find it anyway. But I highly doubt that CPS was called on her for leaving Uriel with her mom, even though 11 months prior this horrible accident had happened. Okay, because we've had horrible accidents in our jobs happen that are determined to be accidents, right? And people continue to trust their children with these people. I mean, it does. Accidents really do happen. Okay.
Hypothetically, had grandma been charged with the first child's death in any way, then
yes,
the mother of Uriel.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I got the kids confused.
Yeah, Ezra's 16 months, and Uriel was the 7 month.
Had that all gone that way, then the mother would, in my eyes,
Mom and Dad probably would
neglectful for letting their child be with a person who had been charged. If grandma had been charged in any way,
they probably would have been investigated, and it wouldn't have put them in the state of Michigan. It wouldn't have put them on Central Registry. They probably would have confirmed on them.
Right.
But yeah.
Irrespective, in this case, the mom hasn't legally or criminally done anything wrong.
No.
But I can only imagine what her spouse and other people feel about her decision to leave her child with her mom. And I'm sure she asks herself that same question every day.
Can you imagine the media onslaught and the dang keyboard warriors that probably went
from
after
both sides
the mother like she was just the worst parent on earth? I mean, that's why I said earlier, like, can we just put ourselves in their position for a minute and have a moment to understand the complex dynamics here? And like, what about her siblings? What about Kyla's siblings who still very much probably love their mother?
Of course.
Right? But yet,
and she has other grandkids.
One of their nieces, exactly, and one of their nieces and nephews have now perished in the care of their mother. I mean,
two of their nephews and nieces have perished in the care of their mother.
Well, one niece, one nephew.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, this is so complicated. Now, in terms of the jury, after deliberating for 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 54 seconds, the jury reached a verdict. Tracy Nix was found not guilty on count 1, aggravated manslaughter of a child, but she was found guilty on count 2, leaving a child in a motor vehicle in excess of 15 minutes, causing great bodily harm. This comes with a maximum of 5 years prison time in the state of Florida. So the sentencing hearing, that's all that she can get. And so at the sentencing hearing that took place on April 3rd, 2025, Kyla and her husband Drew testified. Drew Schock, told the judge that he is defending his children from a woman who took them away from him. And he said it's insane that prison time is being debated when 2 of his children have died while in her care and they'll never come back. So, I mean, to him, he's like, she should get all 5 years, obviously, right? Kyla.
That's not always how sentencing guidelines work, though.
No. Nope.
They come with a score and a recommendation from probation about how long they score into it.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that people know, so don't come at me.
Right. Kyla described the pain of losing 2 of her children under her mother's care. And at times during her victim impact statement, she addressed Tracy directly saying, I hate that I have to choose, meaning choose between loving her mother and defending her children, feeling like she's defending her children. She asked the judge to honor her children's death by saying that, by giving her the 5 years, and said it doesn't lessen her love for her mom, but she does deserve the 5 years jail time.
I think what both those parents said and argued is so incredibly appropriate.
Yeah.
What they both said.
Yeah, absolutely. As Kyla left the podium, she told her mother that she loved her, and Tracy could be heard saying, I love you. That would even be hard. Like, you don't just, just suddenly, right, stop loving someone. That would be hard.
She expressed remorse.
We're getting to it. Nunn Nix, Tracy's husband, spoke in court during his wife's sentencing hearing, saying that she mourned in silence after Uriel's death. He also discussed her medications, saying, looking back, there were some changes. Like, in hindsight, he's like, there were some maybe behavior changes that I should have been more receptive to. But hindsight's always 20/20. While handing down Tracy Nix's sentence, the judge noted inconsistent statements between testimony and evidence and questioned Tracy's remorse, saying that she showed sorrow but not remorse. So because of that, Tracy was sentenced 5 years in prison and given credit for time served. And the thing is that during the sentencing hearing, Drew Schock had actually said, we never even got a letter of apology. She never, and this is what the judge means by, you have sorrow, but you're not showing remorse. And Tracy explained when she had a chance to talk that she wasn't allowed to contact them.
Correct. It would have been an
she explained
incredibly
why.
Bad taste and probably against a court order and definitely against a defense attorney advice to write or make any statements during that. But again, I wouldn't have taken it to trial.
Yeah. Yes.
She put her family through that trial.
She did, which I think is another factor for the judge that she should receive all 5 years.
There's a feeling of lack of accountability.
Yes. There's sorrow, but not remorse.
Because I think she feels, if I'm reading this correctly, that this was just another true accident and she doesn't think it's fair that she's being punished for it.
Yes, right. Exactly.
And I think I disagree with her. If a jury found her guilty, then she's going to face the punishment and she needs to start showing remorse.
Yeah. And I mean, the 5 years, it doesn't bring the children back, and prison time does not right the wrong.
I bet he exceeded sentencing guidelines. I bet that max of 5, they probably came with a recommendation of maybe 24 months or something probation. It sounds to me, I bet that judge exceeded to give the max in this case.
What I can relate to this in my personal experience with the maltreatment and care unit, we were responsible for investigating people taking care of other people's kids.
Yeah.
Primarily foster parents, which this was not the case, but we always used the term a person responsible. And there was a definition that got debated over a lot of what makes a person responsible for a child in their care. But she was clearly a person responsible.
She was driving that vehicle.
So
she was the only one home in
so
Ezra's.
she's a person responsible for a child. Yep. So, and like I said, she's feeling she doesn't deserve to be punished for an accident, but she is, by definition, responsible.
Both civilly and criminally, according to a jury of her peers, following the statute. Because what you just described falls under the specific parts of the statute that had to do with care and supervision and neglect.
Right. And I liked that the judge pointed out that you seem to feel sorrow. Now, whether that's for herself or for the whole situation or a combination of both, but not true remorse. Because like you said, and I think the judge probably feels the same way, true remorse would have been, I'm pleading, I think the difference here, they wouldn't drop this aggravated manslaughter, excuse me,
Right.
count. And so I don't think, she clearly wasn't going to plead guilty to that, but I think that negotiations could have been done here if she had been willing to work with them.
But I think the mindset would be that if you're remorseful, then you would take responsibility for what happened, whether or not it was an accident or not.
It's hard.
Again, it's easy for us to sit here, but
You have the right to have a jury trial,
Sure.
a trial
Yeah.
in the U.S. And even if you're guilty, like anybody has the right to a trial, and it has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And she exercised that right, and that part can't be used against you, and it actually can't even be used against you as sentencing. Just the fact that you had the trial,
Right.
But the remorse and the regret and that piece certainly can be taken into consideration. And there was an opportunity there after she was found guilty for her to have made some statements, for her to have written a letter that were something other than sorrow about, I'm sorry that my granddaughter's gone.
What she had actually repeatedly said was that she was already living in hell.
Okay.
That's what she was repeatedly
But that's an I
saying.
statement.
Right.
And she needed to make sure that, the appropriate statement would have been, I cannot believe that I forgot my grandchild in the car that day. I cannot believe still that I caused the death of this baby, and I live with it every day, and that I'm grieving. Like, there are so many better ways to have approached that. I think sometimes, and I'm not trying to say anything specific in this case, but defense attorneys need to be better about preparing their clients for the sentencing phase and finding out what their true feelings are. And there was an opportunity for her to have shown real remorse here that was not shown. And it might be because she's not remorseful.
Right.
She's
Right.
What was the word that you used?
Sorrowful.
Sorrowful. She's sorrowful.
Sorrowful.
Sorrowful. Yes.
Yeah. No, I agree. Anyway,
I hate this case.
I told you would. I made sure you were already locked in with your headset on and your mic's hot so that you couldn't leave. And then I told you it was going to be a terrible, sad case.
Whoever you are that recommended this case, I'm not happy with you today.
Well, they knew it was both in our wheelhouse and
I'm going
also
to go through our list of people from Florida.
Right.
I'll find you.
Oh gosh, yeah. It was, it is a very unusual case. I did see an article where both of these causes of death are considered a 1 in a million chance death.
Right. And what are the astronomical odds of this happening twice to the same person?
I know.
Well, I don't know that you can talk odds when you're talking about the neglect of a very specific individual or specific individuals who have clearly a propensity for not supervising children appropriately.
Right.
And so, yeah,
so tragic.
There's this legislation, but also the reminders. And remember, I sit on a board for child abuse prevention and awareness, and this is the time of year that we start bringing up things like reminders. Mm-hmm. And there was this huge debate, again, from some keyboard warriors and from the media years ago when they first started installing the security systems in cars that will tell you, like my newer Suburban, object in seat.
Yes. Yep.
Object
Object detected in seat. Or
right?
check it. My husband's truck says, check the back for objects or something like that.
And then there was a group of people that would also, before those came into effect, were making sure that people had reminders, like put something in the car that will make you not forget, like a bell or something like that. And then the other end was like, yeah, the thing that you can't forget's the fucking baby.
Right.
Well, that's okay, obviously, sir, but we're trying to do things that are preventative here to remind people. And at the time, I think you were dealing with, like, think about a mom who's exhausted with a bunch of toddlers and postpartum depression who gets out to go and fall asleep. And we had those cases too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a reminder.
You know what I read after researching this case? Of course, my algorithms were then showing me all kinds of things. And there was this post that went viral where this mom said that whenever she puts her infant in the back seat, she takes off one of her shoes and she throws it in the back of the car.
I saw that.
And so then when she gets out, she will notice that she only has one shoe and she will go into the back of the car.
Oh, her own shoe.
Her own shoe.
Oh, I'm like, why would she throw the baby shoe?
No.
I got
Most
it.
babies don't really wear shoes.
Well, that's
anyway,
I confused for a moment.
Wow.
But it's true.
Way to catch up. But yeah, and I thought, and I saw those keyboard warriors. I saw the people that were like, well, how could you ever forget your baby? Oh, Okay, have you ever been in a situation where you forgot something and thought, fuck's sake, I can't believe I forgot that? On my way here, and I know myself very well, I keep in the studio an extra SD microchip for our recording stuff.
Yes.
Because I left ours at my house where I do all my editing. Okay.
Oh.
So I knew at some point in time, this is the first
yourself.
time since we've had this studio outside of my home that it's the first time I forgot it, but I knew there would be a time when I would.
Yeah.
And so
preventative.
It was preventative. So I left and I left an extra micro SD card in the studio, and I'm glad I did because it came in handy today when I was bringing in all kinds of other
Charnell,
things.
what a good point. I mean, again, I'm not making this statement about being pro these type of techniques or alarms or whatever. What I'm saying, because of course you should remember your baby, okay?
Well,
but what I'm saying is, if that preventative measure stopped one baby from dying in the back of a car, it was worth having those to implement.
Yep.
I mean, again, for the sake of this episode, it wasn't her baby. It wasn't a mother forgetting her baby.
But
it was
grandmas,
it was a
caregivers.
grandma. So somebody, your daughter, gave you the most precious thing in the world to be responsible for. Mm-hmm. It's not like it was her chihuahua or her purse.
She might have
or
remembered.
If it was a gallon of ice cream, I'll bet she would have remembered it in the backseat in Florida.
No, probably not.
Like,
I
my
forget.
ice cream's going to melt. So is your baby.
Yes. But to play devil's advocate, because it was out of routine for grandma, that makes it easier. That's a risk factor, being out of routine.
I would have.
So imagine if there was an alarm in her car, guys.
Right. To be a little cynical, I'm a little surprised that grandma wasn't thinking, I'm getting a second chance. This should be my only focus all day.
I agree 100% with you on that. And that's really where the genetic psychiatrist coming in to testify for the defense to explain the medications that she was on in the combination of them. I don't know it, and I'm not defending her. I mean, obviously, guys, ex-CPS worker here. I'm totally on the side of she deserved jail time.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
I will take a stance on this. Absolutely. But it's also my job to consider all factors in every investigation that we handle. And so I kind of look at cases that way too, that we present here. And there's a lot that could be said for the medications that she was on, the fact that it's not in her typical daily routine. I don't know how often she had been allowed to watch Uriel after the death of Ezra. This might have been one of the first times.
Right.
Again. Mm-hmm. So still.
Again, though, Jason feels like, and I think I'm tending to agree, you should have been in a sense of heightened awareness.
Exactly. That's what I'm
considering the
saying.
last
Yes.
situation.
I 100% agree with
Yeah.
you. Yep. 100% agree. So anyway, are we ready for a brain bath, you
yes.
guys?
God, I don't think there's any bath that can help
I know.
in this episode.
This one was...
You got me. Ring bubbles.
I'm just
So-
looking at your phone wondering what we're doing here.
So just so you guys know, we changed the layout of the studio. So now instead of, I brought in a bigger table for us because we've needed one for years. And I finally remembered. And we sit now in a line of each other so they can actually see my shit now instead of us always just looking at one another. So don't ruin it. Don't ruin it by looking at my phone. I like it like this. I think it's fine.
My
I
neck
like it
hurts.
like this.
I don't want to.
My neck hurts.
My neck is killing me.
I like it like that. Anyway, we don't own the rights to whatever that was.
Nothing.
Well, I didn't even need to say that. No one recognized it as a
Charnell,
song.
I glanced.
Yes.
I glanced. It was
No,
purple.
My phone. Oh gosh, I have a little brain bath for us here, guys. It's a good one.
Picture on your phone for the brain bath?
Yes, this is the brain
I
bath.
you
just-
thought she
I thought
was
she just
looking
left
up
her
her-
Amazon open.
Yeah.
Oh my
She
god.
was checking
I'm
the
like, are you
delivery
gonna close
status
that?
of that purple
Shut your face.
microphone. Is that for the studio?
You seriously thought that
For-
I was
there
just
a-
letting
for a hot
you
second.
see
My initial glance, I'm like,
Charnell?
Charnell, what's going on there?
Her package got stolen off her front porch.
Uh-huh.
I'm like,
Okay.
is this something? Does this happen to you?
No.
Your package was stolen.
No,
Is
no.
these messages they sent directly to your Amazon?
No, this is a screenshot
Oh,
of,
okay.
and it's just funny, but it is clearly a female pleasure
item.
apparatus.
It's a massager.
It is. It's long and purple.
And it looks like a microphone.
Sure, it looks like a
the microphone
circumcised
goes-
microphone.
Microphone sounds
does
like this,
Does
though.
it say how big it is? Is there
Stop doing that.
Is there an item description?
Probably.
package
but
size.
this is just
like
a
dimensions.
funny package stolen thing. All right. So this is an Amazon from an Amazon thing. And it's not real, but it's funny. Stolen from porch. Your discreetly labeled package, massage wand, therapeutic use. Left your front porch with Yuri neighbor's shady teenage son, Kyle, at 2:47 a.m. So this is one of those satire posts where it is like
It's
telling you.
updating the tracking.
It is. It's updating the tracking just like Amazon would, but of its actual descent from your porch. Then it says, package opened. Kyle unboxed your item in his alley behind 7-Eleven at 3:12 a.m. He looked confused but intrigued. Then the next update, post on Facebook Marketplace. Kyle listed your Deluxe Ultra Vibe 9000, like new, open box, on Facebook Marketplace for $45 at 4:06 a.m. with caption, not what I thought it was, no refunds. The next update is sold. A woman named Mystic Rhonda bought it using a $50 crystal she claimed was charged under the wolf moon. The trade took place at a bus stop at 7:23 a.m.
Are you Mystic Wanda?
That part,
She is now.
That
That's what
part
I'm
got
calling
me. Mystic Rhonda.
Oh, Rhonda.
Did you call me Wanda? That was my
did. I called
grandma's
you
name.
Mystic
That was,
Wanda.
I had a great aunt named Wanda.
You can call me Mystic Wanda.
Oh,
I
that's her
like
code name.
that. Yeah.
Fish name.
Delivery. Here's
Favorite
fish
movie.
named Wanda. Here's the delivery feedback. This is the 4th time a neighbor has stolen my self-care items. I'm starting to think the whole block needs therapy.
They're blocking you for sure.
They just know, girlfriend, that
That's
How do they
You
package? Like if
order-
you order one of those from Amazon, is it quote unquote discreet?
how would I know?
No.
Also, yes.
Yep.
But yes.
But yes. I'm offended that you would ask. But yes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely hysterical. And mix-ups can
Babe,
happen.
what'd you buy from BBC?
Right. Mix-ups can happen, people.
Microphone.
And then you've got a lot of splaining to do to your husband. That you're.
We need to have a discussion.
Wait, like, no. I swear. Let me show you what I really ordered. Oh, God. Anyway, we hope that you keep it curious.
And please keep listening.
Not so curious that you want to reach out and ask me more about that story, though.
no.
There's
And
always next
Stay
time.
off your neighbors' porches.
This felt like one of the times when you should have said, if there's a next time.
If there's a next time.
for us.
And then we say,
Bye-bye.